What's up guys, welcome back again to your Heroclix headquarters. Today we're going to be continuing our full set review of Avengers War of the Realms. This time we're talking about the super rare figures, so if you missed commons, uncommons, and rares, go back and check those out. But without further ado, let's jump right into it. Alright, starting off the super rares, just like the commons and the rares, is the Shifting Focus Thor to complete our Shifting Focus set here. So the super rare version of the Shifting Focus Thors, it has a little bit of something going on, at least this time. The other ones were like a basic close attacker and a basic range attacker. This one starts with a 10 movement with sidestep and flight, 10 attack, 17 invuln, and 3 damage. Avengers team ability. And of course, the Shifting Focus trait. And then a special attack power that says, Power, improved targeting, destroys blocking characters. Make a close attack regardless of adjacency, targeting all opposing characters within 6 squares along a single direct line of fire. Each hit character is dealt Thor's printed damage value instead of normal damage. After resolutions, destroy any walls or squares of blocking terrain along the direct line of fire. So that's a cool little power to have there. He basically just throws this hammer through all the walls and characters within 6 squares, potentially hitting several characters for his printed damage value, which is pretty nice, and, you know, breaks a few walls along the way. I mean, that's great, but starting out with a 10 attack, 3 damage, and 17 defense is just not great. Now, the sidestep does help to position that hammer throw power, but aside from that, you're probably going to want to wait till, you know, he takes some damage again before you switch to this one, just like with the ranged attack one. Like, at least on click 3 and 4, he's got an 11 attack. But then later on click 5, 6, and 7, he has a 12 attack for 4 damage. But unfortunately, then he only has charge, so he can't position the hammer throw quite as effectively. But, I mean, even if you're not going for the hammer throw, he still has, you know, really good stats there. 18 impervious as well is really nice. So it's kind of like you want to start with the common one. Once he takes a hit, you want to switch to the rare one, and then when he takes another hit, you want to switch to the super rare one, just so he has a consistent, like, 12 attack, 4 damage, 18 defense the whole time. I think that's fine if you just play it like that. You know, he's got a decent length dial with, you know, great stats the whole way down, if you think of it that way. But I just feel like it would be nice if each of the Shifting Focus characters were a little bit better on their own. Like, the common one's great for what it does, is fine, but I wish the rare and super rare at least started with, like, an 11 attack, or 18 defense or something, because they have, like, such pathetic stats to start with. You really don't want to start with them. But I mean, just looking at the Shifting Focus, like, thing overall for Thor, you know, he's really good for this one on the last few clicks of his dial, and the hammer throw power is really nice. So I don't hate him. I just wish he started out better, so I would like him a little bit more, or have some reason to start with him and not the common one. But I mean, it is what it is, and he at least adds a lot to the Shifting Focus Thors in general, like overall, so he's alright. But up next we have number 46, Daredevil. Now this is Daredevil with Heimdall's sight, so he can see, you know, everything in the universe, basically. He's got the Cosmic Energy team ability. He's coming in at 75 points. He's got Flight with a special movement power that gives him Passenger 2 and Phase Teleport and Sidestep. Or Passenger 4, but only to carry characters with the Asgardian keyword. So he makes a great taxi, especially for Asgardian. He also has a special damage power that gives him probability control, but may target a character within 8 squares regardless of line of fire. That's great. Long range prob that doesn't need line of fire is always good. And then his trait here gives adjacent friendly characters super senses. So, you know, handing out super senses to adjacent friendlies and having that 8 square, regardless of line of fire, prob, and just being able to phase teleport and sidestep either 2 to 4 characters around, that's all pretty great. 11 attack, 19 defense to start with, so he's got great stats there as well. Blades the whole dial, so he has potential to deal good damage. He's got Cosmic Energy, so he can't be outwit, and he can, you know, roll willpower every turn. All in all, you know, he's a pretty solid character. I can't help but feel like I wish he was cheaper, though. 75 points for, you know, carrying everybody around, giving them super senses, using prop control. That's good, that's fine. I just still feel like he's a little overcosted to me. I don't know why. If he was like 50 points, he'd for sure be like top tier. But at 75, I feel like he should have a reducer, like traded toughness or something. Because 19 defense is great, the prop is great, and then super senses, of course. But If he had like a little toughness or invuln or something to keep him alive a little bit better would be nice. Or I don't know, maybe if he had some type of like 5 or 6 range or something so he could make range attacks would be nice too. I don't know, I just feel like he's missing a little something that holds him back from being great, in my opinion. But I love Daredevil, and Daredevil with Heimdall sight is awesome, so he's a fun figure at least. Very cool. But up next, number 47A, Gamora. And, you know, the first time I saw this style, I thought for sure it was a rare for some reason, but this is a super rare. She comes in at 80 points. She's got Guardian's team ability, 6 range, 10 movement charge, 11 attack blades, 17 toughness, 3 damage with close combat expert. She's a ally. She's got the ally roll tag, so she's going to have a trait to help your captains and sidekicks. She's got some improved targeting for elevated characters and adjacent, can make range attacks while adjacent, so that's super good, improved targeting effects to have. And then her sideline active unique modifier effect here, friendly captains and sidekicks modify attack +1 when attacking 1 or more equipped characters. So that's great. I mean, definitely worth throwing her on the sideline of any captain and sidekick team. This is the first one I think we've seen that didn't just give a stat modification to attacking characters with a certain keyword, but actually just anything that's equipped. And since in almost any game you play nowadays you're going to come across a character that's equipped, this almost always is going to have its uses. So really cool effect there. And then she also has traded super senses, and once per turn, when Gamora hits with a close attack after resolutions, she can make a ranged attack, which is really nice with that improved targeting adjacent and characters and elevated as well. Because even if she doesn't have any like running shot or anything, she can literally just charge with a 12 attack, 4 damage with a close combat expert. I don't even know why you would want to roll blades when you could just deal 4. Some people want to risk it though. I would just deal 4. But you could charge in there with 12 attack, 4 damage, and then make a ranged attack if you hit, either against that same character you just hit, or maybe the character behind them or whatever, so give you multiple attacks there. And the traded super senses really helps out with the fact that she only has a 17 toughness to start with. So overall, really like this Gamora, really solid. 80 points though, maybe a smidge high. I would have liked to seen this at like 70, 75. But, you know, just throwing her on the sideline for that effect, she's going to be 0. So she's really good overall still, and looks really fun. But up next we have the Prime Gamora. Now this one, very interesting, very powerful. Coming in at 125 points, has Police and Guardian team abilities, 7 range, triple target. Now at full points she's got 12 movement with flight and charge, 12 attack, 18 defense, and 4 damage with close combat expert. So charging in, she could swing with a 13 for 5. She's got a lot of stuff going on here. Her first trait says when Gamora targets more than one character with an attack, instead of dividing the damage, she may deal her printed damage value to each hit target. So charge in, triple target, 12 for 4 on each of them, pretty nuts. Or even shooting from 7 range, triple target, 12 for 4. Pretty crazy amount of damage there. Then she also has another trait, once per turn, when an opposing character within 4 squares makes an attack, give Gamora an evidence token. Free, remove 2 evidence tokens to place Gamora adjacent to an opposing character within 4 squares, then make an attack. So anytime an opposing character within 4 makes an attack, she gets an evidence token. And once she gets 2 of those, she can just place herself adjacent to any opposing character within 4 squares and make an attack. Pretty powerful if you ask me. Then her special attack power also says when Gamora targets a single character with an attack, they can't use defense powers. So this really gives you the give and take of, do I want to triple target and potentially deal 3 people 4 damage, or do I want a single target and just say that they can't use their defense powers at all? Now that's going to mean anything that's on their defensive slot, and also any defense powers that they can use through traits or whatever else. So it's a really powerful effect to have, and especially when we're talking about like a 13 attack, 5 damage up close. It's really good against characters that have stop clicks. If they have a stop click on their defense, you can just blow right past that and just one-shot them. Or if they have like multiple layers of defense, like they got, you know, combat reflexes, super senses, impervious, you know, it's really hard to get through all that, but you can just say, no, you can't use any defense powers, and just punch them straight for 5. So really, really cool effect to have, really powerful. And then she also has combat reflexes and impervious on her defense, so she's also pretty well defended herself. And I mean, if you look at her dial, she's got good, you know, 12 or 11 attack the entire dial, a lot of close combat expert, so it's going to be a 12 attack for most of that, unless you're shooting from range. She's got a little exploit there in the middle, some flurry blades, so she's definitely a huge threat throughout the entire dial. And yeah, can do tons of damage to single target or triple target. Now she also has a 60-point line where she just starts with that 10 movement charge, 11 attack, 18 defense, and 3 damage with exploit weakness. And, you know, they still can't use defense powers if you single target, but you could triple target and do, you know, 3 penetrating to up to 3 people with her printed damage value. So, you know, again, give and take there, but at 60 points, she's only got 4 clicks of health, and if she gets, like, penetrating blasted or something for 4, she's just dead. So, a little risky to play her at 60 points, but could definitely still be worth it for sure. I just really want to try her out at 125. She looks like a beast. So, yeah, super fun, super powerful figure there. Moving on next, we have Hela. 125 points. She's got Mystic's team ability, 8 range. Starts off with 10 movement running shot, 11 penetrating blast for 3 damage with exploit weakness, and 18 impervious. So she's doing penetrating damage no matter what, close or ranged attacks. In the middle of her dial there, she gets a 12 attack blades with charge. That combo is a little better with the exploit. And at the end of her dial, she gets sidestep with steel energy and regeneration, so she has multiple ways to heal up, as well as a little outwit there if you need it. And she's got improved targeting characters as well, which really helps with her, you know, 8 range running shot there. But then also she's a unique figure, and that's because she is a mission point character. And now she actually got errated super quick because this first trait now says, whenever a standard character is KO'd by an effect opposing to them, generate a grave marker in the square they occupied. They added the opposing to them thing because there was a way you could KO a bunch of your own figures and then just get a ton of these grave marker things. And that's not how they wanted this to play out. So your opponent has to KO the figures, or you have to KO your opposing figures. So as long as an opposing thing KOs a figure, you get to generate the grave marker. But then it says power, generate a Druger warrior bystander in all unoccupied squares with grave markers within range, then remove each of those grave markers, gain 1 mission point for each Druger warrior generated this action. So potential to generate a lot of warriors and a lot of mission points that way. She also has a trait that gives her leadership and mastermind, and when she uses leadership and succeeds, you may instead generate a grave marker. So that's a way to just, you know, keep pumping out those grave markers. Because also, remember, it says whenever a standard character is KO'd by an effect opposing to them, blah, blah, blah. So bystanders aren't standard characters, so you're not going to be able to get more grave markers off of the bystanders, unfortunately. But being able to just make one yourself is pretty nice. And better to make that, I guess, than the warriors, because then you can get mission points. But taking a look at the warriors, you get charge with a 6 movement, 10 attack, 1 damage with exploit weakness, and 16 with combat reflexes. So not horrible. They're not going to be doing a ton of damage. It would have been really nice if they were autonomous, because, I mean, you're only going to be doing 1 exploit. So the fact that it's almost like not worth wasting an action. Unless it's like the only thing you have is Hela and a bunch of the warriors left. Then yeah, just dogpile something and try to exploit it to death. But otherwise, I think they're probably best used to just move up and maybe block line of fire or tie them up a little bit. You know, make your opponent waste an action to punch them to death or something. But regardless, I mean, she's a really fun figure. People did some team building and got her broken really fast, so they had to errata her really fast. Because I guess they just don't want people winning turn 2 with mission points. Can't have that. Which, yeah, I mean, that would be a little ridiculous if you just killed your whole team and then won on mission points. I would be a little upset, I think, by that. But I mean, anyway, she's a decent figure overall. Mainly just fun. A lot of the mission point characters are just fun, and they have some fun things they can do with the mission points. But they don't win a lot yet. We still need some really good mission point characters to really get some wins with those. I think my favorite mission point character so far is the Prime Ultron Pym. I don't know. I think he has potential. That's not the topic we're here for today. So moving on next, we have the super rare Valkyrie. Now this is Jane Foster as a Valkyrie. So coming in at 100 points, she has a special movement power with 10 movement and flight, and 11 attack with Quake, 18 impervious, and 3 damage with Outwit, and a 6 range there as well. So she's got a trait that says free, choose a standard attack or damage power printed on Valkyrie's card. She can use the chosen power until she chooses again. That's really neat. So you can basically pick between Quake, Blades, Steel Energy, Outwit, Prob, and Close Combat Expert to have until she chooses again, which is really nice. So you could just pick Close Combat Expert, charge in there with a 12 attack, 4 damage. So that's a really cool power to have, you know, just a little pick a power for all of your options there. Not a lot of options, but I mean, options are options, so they're always good. You know, having Outwit and Prob top dial is great, or, you know, maybe you want the Blades if you really need to do big damage, or just Close Combat Expert to do the +1 attack and damage is also great. And, you know, she can have Steel Energy at any point on her dial, so she can always be healing up if she needs to. Pretty nice. Now, she also has another trait that when a character damaged by Valkyrie this turn would be KO'd but isn't. After resolutions, modify Valkyrie's combat values by +1 this game. So anytime she damages a character that at any point this turn would be KO'd but isn't, after resolutions, she just gets +1 to everything. So that means anything like, you know, Krakoan Revival, bringing them back, like the Living Legend trait from Captain America and the Avengers when Captain America would be KO'd. I think that also applies to Secret Identities, because when they would be KO'd, you can instead replace them with something else, although that might not count because it's a replacement character. I'd have to look that up. I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head. But, I mean, it's still really cool, mainly for, like, Krakoan Revival stuff. I think it's the #1 thing you're going to see. Now, that does not count for things like stop clicks. I've had this question a few times before. When a character would be KO'd but isn't, it's literally looking for a power or trait or something that says, when this character would be KO'd, instead do this. Now, if, you know, you can't say, like, if somebody punched them really hard and they hit a stop click, I mean, that doesn't count. There was no point there where they would have been KO'd because they stopped. So that's basically what that's looking for, just to clear up any confusion there. Because I think it was somebody like, was it Phoenix Force, the Old Man Phoenix? Was that it, who did something like that? There was some confusion about that before, but anyway, moving on, she has a special movement power there that gives her charge, and when she uses it, don't half speed unless she has generated a Mr. Horse Bystander this game. And then once per game, free, generate a Mr. Horse Bystander. Now, if she gets knocked off of that special movement power, she's not going to be able to generate the Mr. Horse, so... but I mean, honestly, I would just use the full speed charge to get in there and then just take the free to generate the horse, because you probably don't really need the full speed charge once you're already like up there in the fight. And taking a look at the Mr. Horse Bystander, he's got flight with a 12 movement charge, 10 attack for 2 damage with exploit weakness and a 17 toughness. So he can't be poisoned to death. That's always nice. I really look for that nowadays in my bystanders, if they can just be poisoned. So yeah, I mean, she seems really solid with the pick a power. You know, you can choose what you need to just charge in there with, if you want the prob or the close combat expert or whatever. Now she does also have a 60-point line where she just starts with charge, 10 attack blades, 3 damage prob, 17 invuln. She doesn't have the Mr. Horse thing, but, you know, she can still choose an attack or damage power printed on her card, so she could still choose Outwit or Quake from the higher point line if you needed it. And she still has the cool thing where she gets +1 to all stats. Overall, I think I like her better at 100 points, just because the charge in and then make the Mr. Horse thing seems really fun. So yeah, she's pretty cool. But moving on next, we have number 50, Doctor Strange, coming in at 50 points, has Defenders and Mystics team ability, 8 range, 8 movement with flight and phase teleport, 11 attack energy explosion, 18 with energy shield, 3 damage with probability control. He's got Avengers, Defenders, Illuminati, and mystical keywords, but you're probably going to be playing this guy 9 times out of 10 on a mystical team because of his 2 traits. Also worth noting, he has improved targeting hindering, though. That's really nice. But yeah, his 2 traits here, he's got Recruiter, which is power. Choose a character with the mystical keyword this time in your KO area that hasn't been chosen for or generated by a recruiter effect, and if you do, generate a character with the mystical keyword from your sideline that has a lower point value than the chosen character. This game, the generated character can't be replaced and your opponent scores them immediately instead of when KO'd. Now, the big thing about this is there's some really good cheap mystical characters, namely Wendigo. For 15 points, anytime any of your characters gets KO'd, you can literally just use this Doctor Strange to drop a 15-point Wendigo on the field, and let him go to town. Because once you've got that Wendigo on the field, if you can get some damage on an opposing character, they can just start tearing through your opponent's team. And, you know, giving your opponent an immediate 15 points is really not a big deal. So that's one of the main ones you want to use with him. But there's some other really good, cheap, mystical characters you can just bring in too. So one of the best recruiter effects, in my opinion, because of that. But he also has another trait that says free once per turn for all characters with this trait. Choose a friendly character with the mystical keyword. This turn, when the chosen character attacks, after resolutions, deal a hit target 1 penetrating damage. That's really nice because, you know, you can get an extra penetrating damage. I like the fact that it's after resolutions, because if you hit somebody with a stop click, after they stop, they're going to take that 1 penetrating, potentially killing them. So it's a really cool thing to do there. And when comboed with his late dial enhancement, he's going to be giving +2 damage to your friendly characters, which is pretty great. But I mean, also, he's not a terrible attacker for 50 points. You know, starting with 11 attack, energy explosion for 3 damage, and the prob helps out as well. So I think he does a lot for the team. He does have an 18 defense if you happen to have somebody else with defenders. You know, you can borrow that. And, you know, Mystic's, of course, gonna not want to punch him as much since he's got Mystics, so it gives him that kind of deterrent. Plus 18 with energy shield and prob is really hard to hit from range, so you're gonna have to get up close to probably actually hit this guy. But yeah, so really, really solid 50-point piece. I like him a lot. Does some really cool things for mystical teams. But moving on next, we have Crusader. This is another one of my favorite figures in this set. 125 points. Seems well worth it to me, though. Has 10 clicks of health. Has Avengers and X-Men team abilities, so she can actually heal up with the X-Men team ability on if you have some other X-Men. She's got 6 range double target, 12 movement with charge, 12 attack with quake, 19 defense with impervious, and a 4 damage with a special damage power. She's got improved targeting for characters, so she can see through all the characters, which is really useful. A trait that says free, choose one to use until you choose again, close combat expert or energy shield deflection. I love the fact that it's until you choose again, so you don't have to remember to choose it every turn. Just giving her ESD gives her a 21 from range, which is nuts. And I pretty much just sit on that until I was ready to charge in there. Then, you know, get that close combat expert, swing with a 13 for 5, do some big damage. But then she also starts out with leadership and empower. So not only is she a great attacker and well defended with lots of life, she's also helping out the rest of the team with leadership and empower. And then later on, she also gets sidestep and flurry, so she can keep moving around and she can still keep doing lots of damage with flurry, especially if you choose close combat expert. You know, 12 attack, 4 damage flurry, pretty nuts there. And yeah, I don't know, I like her a lot. She seems really solid to me. And she also has a 75-point line, which is almost just as good, with the 10 movement charge, 11 attack, 18 impervious, 4 damage. You still get 1 click of impervious with that special damage power, and you know, 1 click of that can be enough sometimes. You know, 6 clicks long, full of reducers with energy shield, or, you know, good stats comboed with also having close combat expert means she's still really just as much of a threat for 75 points. So I like her great at both point values. She brings a lot to the team. She's just really, really cool. Because, I mean, anybody that can wield Thor's hammer and Captain America's shield at the same time is just awesome. Enough said. And then we have another amazingly cool kind of amalgamation character, Iron Allfather. So this is Odin with an Iron Man suit, which also has some Wakandan tech and Dwarven magic apparently in there as well. So pretty freaking awesome. Now he's coming in at 300 points. He's got the Cosmic Energy team ability. He's got a whopping 9 range, starting out with a 12 movement running shot with flight, 13 penetrating blasts, 20 defense with impervious, and 5 damage with a special damage power that gives him close combat expert, exploit weakness, outwit, and probability control. So you either get a super long range 13 for 5 penetrating blast, or if you actually get up close, then he's got or if you actually manage to get him up close, he's going to have a 14 attack, 6 damage penetrating from exploit weakness. And that's not even including his outwit and prob control. So yeah, freaking powerful. Definitely, as Odin with an Iron Man suit should be. But that's not all. He's also got a trait that gives him free choose a character on your sideline with the Asgardian keyword and choose a standard attack or defense power printed on their card. Iron Allfather can use the chosen power until your next turn. So you're probably just going to want to throw some Thor on the sideline, you know, give him some Invincible, or, you know, maybe if you can find some Asgardians that have some, like, energy shield or combat reflexes, you know, really up his defense a lot. Super Senses would be good too. You know, he's got a 20 defense, but for 300 points, you want to keep him as protected as possible. But then you can also just put a number of Asgardians on your sideline, and you can kind of swap between them as you need, because you could also give him some cool attack powers if you're going on the offensive. You know, maybe if they make a new Thor with Pulse Wave sometime soon, or if you're playing Golden Age, you can pick an old Thor with Pulse Wave. So you can give him Running Shot Pulse Wave, which isn't as exciting now since it only does 1 damage, but it's an option. Maybe you could give him Precision Strike to help with Super Senses, or you could always give him Steel Energy to help him heal up. So, you know, there's a lot of options there. Regen as well. You could pick somebody with Regen printed anywhere on their card, and you could just be regenning the whole time. So pretty solid all around. I also love his huge selection of keywords: Armor, Asgardian, Avengers, Cosmic Deity, Mystical, Stark Industries, Wakanda. Really threw everything in there, which is great. Now he also has a lower point line for 125. He still starts with Running Shot, Penetrating Blast, Impervious, and 4 damage with Prob. He only has 6 clicks of life, though, which for 125 points is kind of pushing it. Even as great as he is, I mean, I feel like you really have to work harder to make him work at 125 points, though. Now, for 300, he's not going to be winning any meta events, but he's super fun, and if you're playing like a 400 or 500 or 600 point game, he's going to be destroying it. So yeah, he's super freaking awesome. But moving on next, we have number 53A, the Destroyer, coming in at 150 points. 7 range, 7 movement with flight and phase teleport, 12 attack, penetrating blast, 19 impervious, 4 damage with prob and giant size. He's got a trait that gives him sidestep, and at the beginning of the turn you may move him 1 square. And he's also got close combat expert and outwit on his special damage power there in the middle of his dial, where you get some charge blades. I don't really know why you'd use blades, again, when you have a 12 attack, 4 damage with the close combat expert. But I don't know, maybe if you want to outwit something and just go for a big blades attack, who knows. But yeah, I mean, a 12 attack, almost his entire dial is pretty good. And then you got a lot of prob, lots of good defenses there. Giant size keeps him moving. The only thing, I mean, for 150 points, he really needed some, like, running shot or something top dial. Like, on his own, he's okay. If he had running shot, he would be actually pretty decent for 150 points, but if you play him with the, I think it was uncommon, Kid Loki, that Kid Loki gives him a free move action and after resolutions a free attack. So, you know, it makes him pretty deadly then, because he'll be able to move a square, sidestep, full move, phase teleport 7 squares, and then shoot 7 range. That gives you like a 17 square reach there to shoot with a 12 attack, 4 damage, and prob and penetrating blast. So, you know, with Kid Loki, he becomes a bit more of a threat for sure. But Kid Loki, I think, was 50 points, so we're talking about 200 point combo there, as is, and it's like, I don't know if that's really worth it then. So I don't love this Destroyer, but he does seem fun. Just a little overcosted in my opinion. But moving on next, his Prime counterpart is far better, far superior. So 53B, the Destroyer, comes in at 100 points, has 10 straight clicks of Sidestep, Penetrating Blast, Impervious, and Close Combat Expert. So with a 10 range and giant size, so he's definitely going to be able to see you and shoot you. And, you know, he's still got Sidestep to move around a little bit. The other one did too, but had nowhere near a 10 range. Now, having that long of a dial and that good of, you know, stats and powers is great for 100 points, as is. You could throw that on a team and he would do well. He also has improved movement, destroys blocking, so that helps him just bust through a wall and punch somebody for 5 damage. But I think he's going to serve a much better purpose on the sideline of almost any team, because his trait here gives him sideline active. If the Destroyer is on your sideline and an opposing character damages a friendly character with an attack, if either character is equipped after resolutions, give the destroyer a seeker token and roll a d6, adding the number of seeker tokens to the result. On a result of 6+, generate the destroyer from your sideline in a square along the edge of the map in the same row or column of an equipped character. Then remove all seeker tokens and turn the destroyer's dial to click X, where X is the number of seeker tokens removed. And if the destroyer started the game via this trait, when it takes damage after resolutions, return it to your sideline. So what's crazy about this, basically, if your opponent's equipped character hits any of your characters and damages them, or any of your opponent's characters hits one of your equipped characters and damages it, then after resolutions, you give this guy a seeker token, roll a d6. The first seeker token he gets, you have to roll a 5 or 6 to generate him. The second one he gets, you only have to roll a 4, 5, or 6. So it just gets easier, and I'd say after the third one, you're probably going to get him. Even if you're rolling pretty badly, you're probably going to get him after around 3. So it is definitely very possible to roll that 5 or 6 and get him just right off the first one. And then you can generate him on any edge of the map that's in the same row or column as any equipped character. It doesn't even have to be the one that hit or got hit. Any equipped character. And that means you could literally generate him all the way back in your opponent's starting area, or, you know, off to the side here where all the fighting is, or wherever you want to put him. Then he can just sidestep, shoot with an 11 attack, 3 or 4 damage penetrating blast, and potentially have at least an 18, 19 defense with impervious, so he's really defended. And even if they do hit him, it's unlikely they're going to kill him because he has 10 clicks of life, and he just has to take any amount of damage and he just pops right back on the sideline to just do it all over again. And because every time he comes in, he's going to be turned to whatever click number as the amount of seeker tokens he had, so probably like 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 at worst. But it's unlikely they're going to hit him for like 6 penetrating damage. So this guy's just going to keep popping in and out of the game wherever you want him on any edge of the map that he's going to be the most effective. And as long as he gets in 1 or 2 good shots during the game, he's not costing you anything, so it's definitely worth it in my opinion. Really the only downside is you have to wait for your opponent to hit you, is really the biggest downside there. But it's almost impossible to score him, and he's going to be doing some major damage. So yeah, he's super good, and any team that's not already playing a prime, either on the main force or sideline, is definitely going to want to have this guy sitting on the sideline. So long as they have some equipment. I think technically you have to have equipment on your team to be able to play him. They'll have to make an official ruling on that. But yeah, I mean, most teams run equipment nowadays anyway, so that's not really like a big deal. Anyway, he's awesome. A++ figure, definitely. But moving on next, we have Thanos, number 54, 150 points. Cosmic Energy team ability, 6 range triple target, 12 movement running shot, 12 attack penetrating blast for 5 damage with a 19 impervious for defense. Improved targeting adjacent, so he can shoot while adjacent as well, is really good. I mean, just looking at his dial, he's got a lot of high speed, a lot of movement attack, high attack value, high defense value with good reducers, big damage values with some close combat expert there with the charge as well on the later part of his dial. So he's very good just in that alone. On his defense, he has stop, impervious, regeneration, and Thanos can reduce penetrating damage. So impervious that can reduce penetrating on that last click with the stop is great, and you can just regen off of it, which is also good. So all that alone would almost be worth 150 points, honestly. But then he also has a really cool trait here that says when Thanos hits, roll a d6. On a 1, Mind. After resolutions, Thanos can use Mind Control as free, but only to target a hit character regardless of range or line of fire. If you roll 2, you give Power. Increase the damage dealt by +1 to each hit target. So you could potentially triple target. If you roll at 2, you're doing +1 damage to each hit target. So you could be dealing, you know, like massive damage there. And then 3, Reality. After resolutions, you may generate a hindering or blocking or water terrain marker in a square adjacent to a hit character. So probably just generate blocking 9 times out of 10 to try and block them off. 4, Soul. After resolutions, heal Thanos 2 clicks. If you want to risk attacking and rolling a 4 with Soul and not trying to regen off of the stop click, you could potentially just heal 2 clicks right off of it anyway. But then on 5, you get Space. After resolutions, you may place a hit character in a square within 5 squares of their current square. So that could really mess up your opponent's positioning. And then on the 6th time, until the end of your next turn, Thanos can use probability control, and opposing characters can't use probability control. So, and no matter what you roll, you get a really good effect. It's just kind of random as to, what you're going to get, so you don't know. Just like a box of chocolates, you never know what you're going to get there. But none of it's going to be bad. So I think all in all, this is another really solid Thanos. And this one's with like Infinity Mjolnir, which is freaking awesome too. So now that we have a Thanos with Mjolnir, and in the last set we got a Thanos Captain America, now I'm just waiting for a Thanos in an Iron Man suit. Give me Iron Thanos. I don't know if that ever actually happened in the comics, but it needs to happen now. But continuing on, we have number 55, Malekith. He comes in at 100 points. He's got Mystic Team ability, 7 range, triple target, 9 movement with stealth, 11 attack blades, 18 impervious, 3 damage with exploit, a whopping 9 clicks of life, so pretty long dial for 100 points there. He's got a trait that says Incapacitate. When a friendly character uses Incapacitate after resolutions, gain 1 mission point for each hit character that was given and a second action token. So any friendly character that gives a second action token with Incapacitate gets a mission point. And, I've seen a lot of people say they don't really like this figure. I still kind of do. I haven't tested him out myself yet or anything. I don't even have one yet currently as of recording this, but I still want to try that out really bad. I think him with something like the Wonder Woman with the Wonder Woman lasso that can just, incap a whole team basically. And then also from the Wonder Woman set, the Medusa that can triple target incap with a 12 attack that automatically gives 2 tokens no matter what. I think there's some really good combo potential right there to really, you could really just incap your opponent's whole team over and over and over again, because then there's not much they can do besides clear, and then just incap them twice all over again. So potentially just really quickly rack up those mission points. I think this is one of my favorite mission point characters yet, but if I ever get a chance to playtest him, for sure, I'll let you guys know. We'll see how it goes. Besides that, though, I mean, he's really nothing too special. If he started out with a running shot, or maybe a special that gave him running shot and stealth, then he would be, I think, pretty great. But, 11 blades and 3 damage exploit is fairly standard. Nothing crazy there. So 100 points is a little disappointing for that alone. Like the dial, besides the dial length, I mean, 9 clicks with 18 defense almost the whole way down. With impervious and super senses, it's pretty great. He does get some sidestep there at the end, but like I said, if you can give this guy a running shot with something, I think he could definitely have some potential. And team him up with the right characters, and you could probably get a ton of mission points very quickly. So I think he's alright. I'll see. Once I test him out, maybe I'll change my mind, but for now, I like him. Alright, but last but not least, number 56, Thor, and in the super rares with another Thor. I love this one though, 175 points or 100 points. Now he's got Avengers Team ability and 6 range double target. At 175 points starting out, he's got 12 movement with hypersonic speed and flight, a 12 attack super strength, a 19 defense with invincible, and a 5 damage with exploit weakness. So great stats and powers. 3 benched powers, which is really just nice to see them back in the game again. Now, I do recall them saying they were going to be a little more lax on the bench powers for some of the higher rarities, so we can definitely see that in effect right here. And now I don't know when they're supposed to bring these powers back. I hope they just bring them back soon. I'm not really a fan of bench powers in general. I hope they just bring all the powers back. But regardless, here we are. We have some of them back in this Thor, and it's great. Now, he also has improved movement destroys blocking, so he can hypersonic through, barriers or whatever, which is freaking awesome. He has improved targeting for characters, so he can shoot, behind characters if you need to, which is also really useful. And he's got this really good trait, No Asgardian Shall Fall, Defend. When a friendly character that's adjacent or has the Asgardian keyword would take 4 or more damage, they take 3 instead. Now, what's really cool about that is he is a friendly character with the Asgardian keyword. So if he would take 4 or more damage, he takes 3 instead. Really, really good power to have there with a 11-click dial. Now that means no matter how much damage you're dealing, if it's penetrating, whatever, minimum you're going to have to hit this guy like 4 times to actually KO him. And that's if you're doing like a ton of damage each time, or penetrating damage each time. Because he's not going to be able to take more than 3. So, and then if you're playing him on an Asgardian team, that effect applies to all of your friendlies. which is going to be really nice. Even on like an Avengers or Cosmic or Deity or Warrior team or whatever, anybody adjacent to him is also going to get that effect. So that's going to be super helpful. And also having Defend with a 19 defense up top is really great. Now later on, he gets a special attack power that gives him Giant Reach 3, Quake, but deals 3 penetrating damage instead of 2. That's super awesome. I really wish he had that to start with. I can see why they wouldn't want to give him that to start. With the hypersonic and everything, he'd be doing insane amounts of damage. But late dial, it really gives him the potential to make a comeback and just come in and just wreck half the team with 3 penetrating damage. So it gives him a lot of comeback potential there. And then he also, in the middle of his dial, which actually starts off his 100-point line, he has a special that gives him leadership, and when he uses it, he may treat friendly characters with the Asgardian keyword within range as adjacent. So he's really a good team player Thor and a good, like, just outright beat stick of a Thor. Because with the Defend, you know, the friendly characters can't take more than 3 damage, and the leadership thing, he's doing a lot for your team, but also with, you know, hypersonic 12 attack, 5 damage, exploit weakness, he's got massive damage potential. And even if you play him at 100 points, he's got 12 movement charge with 12 attack and 4 damage. And some Quake if you want to spread out the damage some. And, you know, I like him at both point values. For 100 points, he still has 7 clicks of life, which is respectable enough with considering the, you know, 18 impervious for most of that, and the fact that he can't take more than 3 damage. They're still going to have to hit him like 3 times minimum to kill him. So yeah, really awesome Thor. Just really love everything about him. Probably, I don't want to say he's my favorite Thor because the Chase Thor from Captain America and the Avengers might still be a smidge better. But this one is definitely top tier. One of the best Thors ever. And he does gain some points there because he has the original costume, that old school look for Thor, so that's always fun to see. And a really cool sculpt with the, you know, bringing the hammer down. That looks so cool. But that's going to do it for all the super rares. So if you guys enjoyed this video or found it useful, make sure you smash that like button. It does help me out a lot. Let me know in the comments what your favorite super rare figures are, because I'd love to hear about that and talk about that with you guys. But if you haven't already, don't forget to click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. And if you want to help support the channel even more, you can check the links in the description for our Patreon so you can see your name here in the credits as well as some other cool stuff. So check that out if it's interesting to you. But that's going to do it for this one. Thanks again so much for watching, and until next time, this has been Heroclix Headquarters, signing off.